Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, we've talked about Nicola Sturgeon becoming a pundit on election night, and some have said yes, some have said no. Personally, I'm all for it. I want to see her face as she realises what a defeat the SNP are getting, what a hammering they're getting, but also it puts her on the spot and people can ask her questions. We all know how much she hates questions. However, Ruth Davidson, who's the ex-Tory leader, and yes, regular viewers will know, your new viewers won't be aware, but I did actually say she was the ex-Labour leader recently. I was confusing her, of course, with Kezia Dugdale, but then there's so much in common with them, isn't there? But she's come out and she says she wants to see misery on Nicola Sturgeon's face, and she says she cannot wait, also, like me, like you, like many people, to see the SNP absolutely trounced and beaten senseless on the election night as the results come in, and just watch them all crumble and fail, and knowing happily that many of them will never work again. And she's ruthless, methinks. Anyway, we'll take a look, see what Ruth Davidson is saying, see what she thinks, and I think a lot of people will probably agree with her. But I can't wait to see Nippy's face as it crumbles, you know, in the face of such defeat. Hopefully single figures, ideally none at all. But let's see. Here goes. It was, I think, Emily Dickinson who said, "Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul, that sings the songs without the words and never stops at all." And it is with that hope in our hearts that we go into this election night on the 4th of July, hoping beyond hope, dreaming beyond dreams, that the SNP are completely wiped out at Westminster. Nil point, no seats. It's possibly a very unlikely event, I think. They'll probably get a few seats, but of course the important thing is to give them as few as possible, and therein destroy the party once and for all. Although that which does not live cannot die, alas. But not just me thinking this. Ruth Davidson also wants to see them booted out. So we'll have a look here. Ruth Davidson wants to see misery on Nicola Sturgeon's face on election night as she urges voters to boot out the SNP. The former Scottish Conservative leader wants to make Scotland free of nationalist MPs, as she warned against making a July the 4th a happy night for her former Holyrood sparring partner. She wants to see misery on the face of Sturgeon. And so does one and all. And there's also, like I say, the fact that she'd be there, she could be facing some very pert questioning, and we know she doesn't like it. I think once it comes out and they're going to see it, they'll have her in the studio, do the interview and that. As soon as she's asked that, a series of questions or whatever, you know how they get up and change and go and disappear in that. I think she'll disappear well quick and will not return. I don't think she can endure that kind of level of attention. I really don't think she'll be there at all. If she turns up at all, I don't think she'll last long. Because I think fundamentally Sturgeon is a bit of a coward deep down. She doesn't want to face failure. She doesn't want to accept that she's no good. She's got this image, this self-id of herself as a towering behemoth of political, might, of being Scotland's mammy and that. And I don't think she can handle the fact that she's loathed, even by people within her own party now. People within the SNP are starting to see the damage she's done. Anyway, Ruth Davidson says she hopes to see Nicola Sturgeon miserable on election night, as she urged Scots to make the country SNP free. Former Scottish Conservative leader has made her first intervention of the campaign and will write to thousands of voters in Tory target seats in a bid to boot out the Nats, and quite rightly too. The SNP has fallen behind Labour in the polls and is set to endure big losses when the country goes to the polls on July the 4th. The Tories could also take some seats from the Nats, with tactical votes set to play a big part in the general election. And as I say continually, myself, Craig Houston, Preston journalist, we're all pushing it. It is so vitally important. Two things: tactical voting, and make sure you vote. Don't sit back. Don't be complacent. Don't let things happen around you and go, well, that didn't have happened. Make it happen. Get your backside out of a chair, into the polls, put your X on your piece of paper, and do it in pen. Bring a pen, none of that pencil that they can rub out. Pen. And make sure your vote counts. This was a public broadcast. Anyway, former SNP leader Miss Sturgeon will form part of ITV's coverage on the night. And writing in the Daily Mail, Miss Davidson, who spent 8 years as the Scottish Tory leader between 2011 and 2019, said she did not want to see her former Hollywood sparring partner sitting smugly on election night. Nobody does. We all want to see the grimace, the Richter smile, because they have that thing, don't they, politicians? They know they're in a really bad position, but they can't have it on their face that they're not happy. So they put that kind of grin on, and it looks like either they're shitting themselves or they're dead and lying on a mortuary table. You know. Anyway, she said, I don't want to give her that satisfaction. I want to switch on the telly that night and see her face as she realises her push for independence is finished once and for all. Because they, of course, are loading the boats. They are saying, oh, if we get the most seats, then that's a mandate for independence, which, of course, it isn't. But if they don't get the most seats, then that must be a mandate for the union. Well done. You've played this game. Play silly games, win silly prizes. And of course, if the union votes are the majority, then the union it is by their rules. Ms Davidson said, the opportunity to move on from the SNP is too good to miss. And we must not miss. I reiterate, get out and vote. Don't be complacent. Vote, vote, vote. And make sure you vote the right way. Anyway, it's the chance, she said, we've been waiting for. We can finally get rid of the SNP in seats up and down Scotland. We can end their demands for independence for good, forever. Destroy the party. Make it a thing of the past. Historical. Never to rise, phoenix-like. You know, it will burn. The ashes are there. You bury the ashes and stomp on them. She said, we can finally move forward Scotland. We can finally move Scotland forward. Sorry, reading is hard. And get away from the divisive independence debate. Once and for all, the SNP are adamant July the 4th will be their Independence Day, but you can make it the day Scotland is free of the SNP. That is the prize on offer if you vote for the Scottish Conservatives in key seats, and of course for Labour in key seats, and for the Lib Dems in key seats. We've done the guides. You know in your seat where you need to vote to get the SNP out. One election only. If it ain't your party, hold your nose and put the X in the appropriate hole. Get them out and end them. The latest polls put the SNP on 30%, Scottish Labour on 34%, and in comparison the Tories dropped to 14%. But the party is targeting selected seats, especially in the North East, where there's the mounting anger at the SNP and Labour plans for the North Sea oil and gas to come to an end. And that, of course, will be their absolute destruction. That's the end of them as far as the North East is concerned, because they all want to destroy the one thing that gives the North East the lifestyle it's used to. Oh well. We'll come back and we'll finish off. So yes, Ruth Davidson, bang on the money. We know it. We all want to see it. And I don't have a problem with seeing Sturgeon being a pundit. I don't care. To see her face, to see that look of misery will please me no end. Because pleasure is something in short supply. You have to grab every little thing you've got. And let's grab this. Let's get that screenshotted. Let's just show the look of horror on Sturgeon's face. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I'll speak to you later. Goodbye.